What's up, guys? Welcome to Newswave Week in Review. Of course, this is our Saturday show where I like to go back through the week of Newswave, take a look at your different comments that you guys leave and kind of respond to them. It's a lot of fun, so if you want to be on the show with your comments, just make sure you're leaving comments throughout the week and yours might be picked and show up right here on the Saturday show. So it's a lot of fun, guys. And first, I want to say I know it's the Switch's first birthday, so happy birthday to Switch. Tonight, the Spawncast is going to be packed full of guests, and we're going to mostly just be talking about the first year of the Switch, so you want to check that out. I'm even going to leave a link in the description, the place you can go and set a reminder. It's pretty much the room before it starts, but you can set a reminder there, or even just, I guess, leave it open in a browser until tonight when it starts, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. It's going to be great, so make sure you guys check it out. But for now, let's get started. Well, on Monday, we went over an interesting meeting between Sega and Microsoft. After Sega of Japan started posting images of them visiting the Microsoft headquarters, the internet started speculating about a possible partnership. We also received more information about the missing Seasons of Heaven game on Switch. GamePlayer119 says, I don't know what Sega and Microsoft are doing. Sega and Microsoft were friends since the Dreamcast days. In fact, Microsoft helped creating the Dreamcast, and Sega had a lot of exclusives on the original Xbox. Maybe an Xbox One exclusive Sonic game, another Jet Set Radio game, Crazy Taxi, Panzer Dragoon, who knows? Ooh, a new Jet Set Radio game. I didn't even think of Jet Set Radio. We had Jet Set Radio Future on the original Xbox. We knew it as Jet Grind Radio here in the United States on the original Dreamcast. So yeah, having the Dreamcast have its own version, the Xbox get its version, and then we jump all the way up to the Xbox One, or maybe it's a launch game for next generation. That would be really cool. The internet seemed to grasp onto Vanquish 2. That was a rumor that's now being thrown around. I see it really going everywhere. We don't really have any concrete proof or solid evidence of that, but that seems to be something that people are pushing around as an Xbox One, and I assume Windows Store exclusive that would be pushed. But at this point, I still think it could be anything. I like the idea of Jet Set Radio. Actually, that's what I want now that you've mentioned it here. That's what I want now, although it probably wouldn't sell as well as something like a Vanquish 2 or a Panzer Dragoon, because that series has kind of been forgotten about now. Even Crazy Taxi would probably sell better, but I think I would like to see a new Jet Grind or Jet Set Radio game on the Xbox One. And now that we've seen Sega prominently display it on their Twitter, I think it's pretty clear some kind of game is being really funded by Microsoft or developed in collaboration with Sega. Vanquish at least makes sense for the Xbox audience that really likes those kind of shooters, but still, it could be anything, I think, and we'll just have to see. I don't think it's a new Sonic game, though. I think Sonic would go to all platforms. Sonic Forces, believe it or not, as poorly received, I should say, by critics as it was, Sega still said it did well for them, so Sonic will live on, obviously. There will be another 3D Sonic game at some point. I don't think they would just keep the Xbox. They didn't even release it physically in Japan on the Xbox. They just pushed it out as digital, so that's the last platform I think they'd want to make Sonic exclusive to. I do also think there's a possibility that maybe Sega adds some Dreamcast games to the Game Pass. That would be really cool. See some Dreamcast games pop up there that you just get, or maybe they just work to add more of them to, in this case, Microsoft system as something you could download. We were this close to Dreamcast games being backwards compatible on the original Xbox. They just couldn't figure out how to make Sega Network. Otherwise, you would have been playing some of your Dreamcast games on your original Xbox. How cool would that have been? I would have loved to see that feature because I would still be using it on my original Xbox now, since that supported things like component out and could even push all the way up to 720 and 1080. That would have been neat. Tuesday, we went over a statement from Starbreeze outlining their current status for voice chat in Payday 2. According to Starbreeze, they have submitted the correct information to Nintendo in order to use voice chat with the Nintendo app and are currently waiting to hear back. Christopher says, for everyone saying Nintendo doesn't need voice chat, I don't understand how giving people the option to voice chat takes away your freedom not to voice chat. You could still just not use it. Nintendo isn't taking anything from you by adding voice chat. There are games that require cohesive communication to play effectively. Adding a simple and light feature such as voice chat would fix that issue. Again, if you don't like voice chat, you don't have to use it. Nintendo isn't forcing you to talk to people. So voice chat has unfortunately been seen as mostly kids just screaming into their mics, or people just being overall jerks online. That's kind of what voice chat has fallen to. However, if you're in the right lobby system and you have the right people around you, voice chat is awesome. Seriously, it made Halo 2, we're talking about Halo 2 back in the early 2000s here, guys, or late mid 2000s. That made Halo 2 amazing to play. That was it right there. And then Halo 3 had it really well and everything. And I mean, the original Xbox used voice chat as a key feature when Xbox Live launched, and we're still talking about it for Nintendo's platform. So I think people just see voice chat as being dangerous for kids. However, as long as they have parental features in place, you can just turn voice chat off completely for them, and you can pretty much mute all of their voice chat that they would encounter in their game. I think it's fine, because you can always mute people anyway. If there's somebody you don't like, on Xbox, it's pretty easy to just go down to the person, pick them, and just hit mute. It's very easy to do that, but it's something you don't have to use, but I think is key. Payday 2 needs voice chat. That's all there is to it. Who knows how Metroid's Online ends up being. That would need voice chat probably as well. Any team-based game online absolutely needs voice chat. That's just the way it is. And I think it needs random voice chat, not just Discord. You may just go online by yourself and want to play, and maybe you want to communicate to the people on your team. Not everyone will use it, but the people who want to use it should be able to, I think. Wednesday, we saw the release of 2 games out of nowhere, Outlast for Switch and Chrono Trigger on Steam. Outlast was received well and mostly reviewed as a good port, with promises of Outlast 2 soon to follow. Chrono Trigger, on the other hand, was met with frustration by fans, as it appears to be a lazy port of the mobile phone version. Chaz says, Square Enix's quality as a whole is dropping. Chrono Trigger is a bad port on PC, Secret of Mana is a bad remake on PS4, Final Fantasy games are less enjoyable lately. It seems like Project Octopath Traveler has a completely different company making it, considering they had a demo, survey, and improved based on gamer feedback, but it hasn't been released yet, so they could still screw that up too. At least they don't screw up the Dragon Quest builders on Switch. Still don't know how Dragon Quest 11 will be. Well, I can tell you Dragon Quest 11 got glowing reviews pretty much for the Japanese outlets that were able to review it in Japan, and I do think that game is going to come out and do well, and I think it will be viewed by the old school RPG community, or just the Dragon Quest fans in general, as being a great game overall. Square Enix is a weird company. They have this like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde kind of look. They're very almost bipolar, I guess. I don't know. It's weird because they will spend a decade plus on something like Final Fantasy 15. They'll spend years just getting Kingdom Hearts 3 ready to be shown at E3 and then push on to finish it. We're talking some of these games taking a decade, but they won't spend even a small amount of time to do something with Chrono Trigger when you port it over to PC. Really, Steam, that game should have sold crazy numbers on there. Crazy numbers. I mean, there were 60, 70 something negative reviews in the first 2 hours that game released. I mean, seriously, that means that people would have bought that game, and I think they could have had a big hit. I think people would have spent, if this was a legit port over to the PC and it was well done, I think people would have spent upwards of $30 for Chrono Trigger, especially if it became the best version to date. People would have spent $30 on that game because there are some big fans of it, and honestly, that's still half the price of some terrible $60 games at times that you don't get that much time out of it all anyway. So Square is weird. They seem to put their resources in weird places. Now, I do think Kingdom Hearts 3 will do well for them. I think they'll get their money back there. If they haven't broke even on Final Fantasy 15 yet, they made a massive mistake there. That's all there is to it. And I do think in this case, Final Fantasy 7 Remake will also get their money back, but who knows when that's coming out. So it's weird to see them. Project Octopath, I'm hoping is good. We all played the demo. I like the demo. I feel like that's going to be a good one as well. However, there is mismanagement at times. I do wonder if there's internal strife certain times in Square, because it certainly seems like they take a couple people, put it on Chrono Trigger, and just say, move the mobile version over. Even the developers had to be like, are you sure about this? Because we could probably get this cleaned up and moved over very easily. And it seems like that was like a week-long project for a group of people in a couple cubicles to do. It's very weird at times. Thursday, we talked about a review system for rating games that Nintendo implemented on their site, only to take it down a few days later, citing this as a test period. We also went over a strange crossover that sees Final Fantasy 15 mixing in The Sims 4. Cringelord says, watch the Windows Store version is going to include Steve from Minecraft. You know what? At this point, that's probably less weird than The Sims 4. At least Minecraft is popular enough to push it. I didn't even think The Sims 4 was that popular to just include it into Final Fantasy 15. Half-Life, yeah, I get it. Steam, you see Steam and you think Half-Life at times, right? Because a lot of people on there want Half-Life 3. Valve's probably never going to develop it because they've become complacent with how easy Steam is for them to just make money from. But Sims 4? That seems like such a weird thing to push. I don't really know what else I guess EA could have put in there that I guess says Origin. I guess Sims 4 really is Origin, I guess. But you're right. The Windows Store, Microsoft, should be pushing either Halo, which would be really cool, by the way, to see them dress up in Halo, like Master Chief armor. That would be cool. Or, yeah, sure, Minecraft. That would be jarring, I think, to say the least. But it would be funny. The Sims 4 isn't taken seriously. And honestly, Steve from Minecraft, that wouldn't be taken seriously either. Flute Geek says, reviews are always good, but I can see Nintendo being hesitant when implementing reviews onto the Switch, especially when it comes to profanity and other bad language. So that's correct to a degree as well. Nintendo really, desperately wants to protect their image, although you see things like Bayonetta, and that's not protecting their image for what they're trying to be. However, they are very much so in favor of not having profanity and stuff on their website. And that, that makes sense to me. Even Microsoft is kind of headed in that direction to be very politically correct. And Nintendo definitely is concerned about that. However, it seems that the review system, at least when it was up for the time it was doing pretty well. They have it so that you have to at least play 2 hours. I think they see Steam, and a lot of the reviews on Steam tend to be people trying to be funny and kind of be a joke, and it really doesn't always help out with people trying to buy the game. And I think they might be concerned about people possibly review bombing even their site with kind of, things that are almost memes for their reviews. I would like to see more of a review system that maybe rewards people for reviewing things correctly even. Maybe Nintendo takes the time and gives people coins or something for doing a legitimate review, good or bad. Because not every game's going to be good, but honestly, you should be able to tell the consumer if a game's bad, because if they buy a game off of your store and it's bad, they're less likely to buy it again, or another game off of your store in this case, or even just on the system altogether. It really is. Those kind of impressions can be left that are very poor. WWE 2K18, I think, it just really damaged the WWE name on the Switch. I don't think 2K19, if that shows up on the Switch at this point, is going to sell well at all. Finally, on Friday, we talked about a report from the Wall Street Journal saying Nintendo has plans to increase the possibilities of the Switch through peripherals rather than a Switch revision. The report specifically mentions the use of the USB-C port on the Switch itself, leading some to believe more power could be achieved through some sort of dock expansion. It's Your Boy says, to be honest, I'd feel kind of ripped off if Nintendo released a Switch revision not even 2 years into its life. I look forward to the day where they do release a stronger Switch, but I hope it isn't soon. So I get what you're saying here. You feel like you'd be ripped off, although honestly, if they did a revision, it probably would just play the same games, right? You'd be able to still play your games. We're kind of trained, to be honest, to expect a revision sooner than later most times. We can go over a couple examples even. Look at the Xbox One S. That came less than 3 years after the original Xbox One launched. And if you want to jump over to Nintendo side, they're worse. Look at the DS Lite. Came out like a year and a half after the original DS came out, and that was miles better than the original DS. In fact, I think the DS Lite's form factor and the brighter screens really helped push it over the edge, along with the game library, to make it by far the best-selling handheld ever made. And if you look back at even the Game Boy Advance, a year and a half later, the SP shows up and offers a screen that can be lit up rather than have to use one of those weird flashlights that you plug into the link cable or EX port and then kind of bend it down to look at it, and it reflects off the screen all annoying. And then it had built-in battery and everything. Think about that. How would you have felt if you bought the Game Boy Advance back then, and then the SP comes out a year and a half later? Would you have been annoyed? I think a lot of people would have been, but it still sold well. People still bought into it, and everything still played the same games, and it moved on from there. A lot of people don't even talk about that anymore. So honestly, it goes against what we've seen from them in the past. If it takes more than 2 years, if it takes 3 years, that's just going to be downright weird. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for Newswave Week in Review, the Saturday show. Thank you so much for stopping by, guys. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. It really helps out. If not, hit the dislike. Leave a bunch of comments below about all the stuff we talked about today. Everything went over, all the comments and everything. It was really fun reading them. Make sure you guys are subscribed with notifications on, and check out Spawncast later on tonight, because it's going to be a lot of fun. It's mostly going to be all about the first year of the Switch and what we think about where the Switches really come from. Full circle. Massive change. Predictions and stuff from really when it first came out, what we were all thinking. Maybe even go over some rumors. It's going to be a lot of fun tonight, guys. So make sure you tune in 9 p.m. Eastern Time, and I'll see you guys then.